All right, and welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro Podcast. I'm Ginette Biro, and as always, thank you so much for joining me on the show, you guys. I just appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time to listen and join in to see what the guides are saying and what's going on with people and spirit as we move through this really intense awakening period on our planet. We are still right in the middle. We're in the thick of it, you guys. This is intense times of change, but also intense times of awakening, higher thought, higher understanding, lots of questioning. And I'm imagining many moments for you guys of frustration and confusion, because again, whenever something is changing rapidly, we are basically moving through many levels of frequency quickly. And we have to remember that known frequencies, even if we don't like them, are kind of comfortable because we understand them, we know them, we recognize the frequency of it. Anytime we're changing into a new frequency, we are going into frequencies not yet known. So we have to get to know them. We have to feel them out and see what is comfortable and what's not about it, what we like, what we don't. So that is all new sensations and experiences. So that's something to keep in mind as we're changing, because it is quite uncomfortable in many ways, depending on what level you're looking at it from. And that discomfort is a part of the journey. I remember a long time ago, my guide said, like, near in the beginning of more of the remembering or awakening to my journey, I remember they said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I was like, what? They said, yes, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you don't fear the sensation of discomfort, rather listen to it as it is trying to tell you something, then you can start to move through those experiences without getting stuck in the fact that you're feeling uncomfortable. You can acknowledge it, but you can carry on forward and see, what is this discomfort telling you? So that's something they wanted me to bring up just as sort of a reminder, because this has been a long haul. This has been a grind, and there's still more for us to move through. But each and every one of you are doing your part in raising your consciousness, questioning your own thoughts, your own ways of doing things, and embracing maybe different ones, or really reinforcing and not doubting the ones that are really true for you. So all of that really matters. Now, what I want to talk about specifically today, though, is the reawakening of the womb space. Now, I say that slowly because I was asking my guides, I'm like, is this really what we want to say? How do we encompass all that they want to share? And so it's kind of like the sacred feminine embodiment, or reawakening the womb space, like I said, the place of collective creation. Because let me say it this way, whether you have a physical womb, whether you have a physical uterus or not, you have an energy that resides in that sacral chakra that is an energy of creation. The sacral chakra represents the body's battery. It's our energy source. It can give energy and it can also receive energy. And whether you are male or female, non-gendered, whatever it may be, there is an energetic resonance of a divine womb space, a place of creation. Now, another way we can look at this too is, whichever gender you are in this life, or non-gendered, in different lifetimes before, we have all been many different genders. There's many lifetimes I've been male, many I've been female. And so we all have this soul resonance of a womb space. We have all had experiences having a physical womb, but we also all, like I said, have the sacral chakra, which is this creative center, energetic place of creation. So what Spirit is wanting to talk about is this sacred feminine, or reawakening of the womb space, and this embodiment of it is bringing back that fierce creative capacity within self and anchoring it into that sacral chakra. If we go back into history, a long time ago, the womb was considered this sacred vessel. Many say that the whole hunt for the Holy Grail, that chalice, that cup, right, that in some pictures Jesus drinks from the sacred chalice, the Holy Grail, the cup, is actually representative of the womb space, that the cup represented the womb, the vessel for creation. Now, whether that is a truth for you or not, this is simply information. So take what resonates for you and leave the rest. But this holy grail, or this womb temple, is basically a sacred vessel because it is the gateway of where souls can come into embodiment. And we all contain a resonance of that. So we all have this energetic place where it is so intense and so magical, it can literally bring through a soul into embodiment on this 3D plane, right? So whether that was for you in a past life or whether that is for you in this present life, that resonance is there. And so when we get back to recognizing that energetic frequency we contain, we can reawaken this collective ability for creation. Now that's where spirit is going. When we recognize that energy that resides there, we can basically connect all together energetically and create. This is where this creation energy comes from, sacral chakra, right? So think about how powerful that is when you really bring back your ability to recognize the full spectrum of who you are. And I talked about this in my cosmic consciousness course recently. We talked about full spectrum being, about really allowing all the layers of self to show themselves so that you can then create, manifest from there. Now, that took me a whole hour to explain, so I'm not going to explain that on the podcast here, but the idea is coming back to that source of creation within the womb space. So how do we do this? Well, we have to, first of all, honor the energies of the womb space. What is that energy? For many people, it is this sacred place. It is a place of sensual energy, of energy derived from sensual pleasures. It is also a place that is very tender, though. It is a place that has received in many ways, whether physically for yourself or ancestral through the lines, it is a place that has received shame. It is a place that has received trauma, whether that be trauma through childbirth, trauma through awful situations. It is a place that has this big merging of energies of both light and dark. But we also see those energies of light or dark in our ability to create. If you think about a woman's monthly cycle, in that month, there is this gathering of creative abilities to create life. But when that doesn't happen, then it is destructive and it destroys in that month the ability to create life and sheds it and then renews again, right? So the womb is constantly this place of meeting of light and dark and light and dark and light and dark. And so when we take that physical thing and we apply our own personal experiences to that, our personal emotional experiences to that, and look at it for all that it can show us, we can start to gather the power. For some, that gathering of power will happen through mending and healing traumatic situations, mending and healing shame or judgment, mending and healing physical limitations to their womb. I mean, I've had to do personally a ton of womb healing because of all my issues with my cycle. My monthly cycle has been a significant part of my journey. So there's been lots of layers of healing there, but when we come together and create that focus on that healing space, it then turns itself into this beautiful place of creation. So one of the ways that I want to angle this discussion is this point of creation can also then be further amplified within getting to know ourselves sensually, either individually or with your partner. It's amazing to see how much sexuality is still squashed, is still kept in this kind of bubble of, ooh, don't talk too much about that, don't talk too much about this, let's not go down this avenue, when yet sexuality, sensuality are designs that truly are our birthright to experience. However, many people don't get the opportunity or the knowledge on how to experience it in a profound way. Many people talk about how orgasm, the moment of orgasm, is this pinnacle moment of connecting to consciousness. And in many ways, that is absolutely true. We can truly connect into higher consciousness in those moments, but we can also have those moments tampered and ruined, in a sense, with shame and guilt, right? So it's when we're starting and when we're willing to really step into getting to know who we are, embracing the totality of who we are, removing the levels of shame, judgment, fear, and all of that, we can fully step into our full spectrum of being. So in terms of sensuality or in terms of sexuality, when is the last time that you looked at yourself in the mirror, nude, and appreciated everything you saw? For many people, they would say, oh my gosh, I look in the mirror and all I do is pick myself apart. But the interesting thing is the majority of people who would actually look at you in the mirror, nude, or look at you not in the mirror, but just directly, would be able to pick out so many beautiful things. The human body, without any distraction of clothing, is a beautiful form, regardless of gender, regardless of size, regardless of color. The human body has so much to share. And when we embrace our vehicle, our holy temple of our body, we then change the frequency of what we can create. This is why so much of embodiment is connected back to all the levels, but we can't ignore the level of the womb. We can't ignore that powerful creative force. And it's something we often do. We don't want to talk about periods. We don't want to talk about sexuality. We don't want to talk about sexual traumas, whether they be physical or emotional. We don't want to talk about ancestral patterns. We don't want to talk about those things because they make us uncomfortable, yet it is a immensely powerful, untapped source. But to truly connect into that source, we have to willingly go into it, recognizing the sacredness of it, also recognizing the power that comes from it, as well as the responsibility. And so it's interesting to see that more and more people nowadays are starting to talk about this. They're starting to embrace different ideas. They're starting to open up to different understandings of sensuality. And so the question to you from Spirit is, how comfortable are you with your sensuality? How comfortable are you embracing who you are? How comfortable are you with the divine beauty of your physical vehicle, your body? How comfortable are you with embracing the sacred womb within? It's things that we kind of bypass all day long, but we don't recognize how powerful it is. So, in order to bring your power back, look into which areas connecting to your womb, connecting to the sacral chakra, you either don't want to talk about, you feel shamed by, things that trigger you. Look into why. Because the beautiful thing sometimes with triggers and shames and all of that is when we actually start to look into it instead of running from it, we realize it's not as big or as bad as we thought it was. We realize that everybody in their own right is learning and trying to figure things out. And to come back to wholeness and spiritual expression and full spectrum of being, we also need to embody that part of ourselves. So recognize that any of the awakening that you do within self, any of the work that you do in healing your own sacral chakra, your own womb space, has a direct ripple into the collective. And as we can all come to recognition of our own womb space with vulnerability, with awe and wonder and a desire to mend, the more we are mending the collective womb space. And as we mend that collective womb space, we have a greater ability to unite as one energetically through that chakra, through that energy signature, and then really start creating a new way of being, a new way of functioning on the planet, a new way of connecting and communicating together in openness and honesty, and a new way of expressing freedom in a beautiful way. Now, I am not by any means jumping on any bandwagon here saying, everyone should run around naked, or everybody should, be connecting with everybody, free love everywhere and every which way. I'm not saying those things at all. I'm saying find what's true for you, but don't hide behind limitations. Find out what those are for you. Open up that womb space, open up that collective space that is yet untapped in the light. In many ways, it has been morphed and shamed. It has been oppressed by gender roles. But what it needs to do is have freedom of expression for balance. And that's what we really want to bring back into balance right now. It is part of the core foundation and the core chakras that help keep us grounded on this planet. If one of them is totally squashed, how are we able to have a steady foundation to then further open up our higher chakras of consciousness, being, thought, all of that? It's all deeply connected. So I'll leave that with you guys for right now. Recognize again that you within you, energetically or physically, contain a vessel that is oftentimes recognized as the Holy Grail, the energy to create or destroy. The energy to create or destroy based on your intent. And when your intent has a clear pathway, meaning it has been healed, it has been mended, it has been loved, and it has been set free, then there is no limitation to what can be created. And there is no shrouding and there is no control on that creation. There is simply the ability to create, which is our birthright. So I hope that inspires a little deep thinking here, a little deep diving into what that means for you, how you choose to reconnect with yourself through your own means, through a specific partner, your spouse, maybe a practitioner of sorts. Again, the options are yours without judgment. Simply be willing to reconnect and get to know you. So I'll leave that with you guys for right now. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will be back again next week with more from the guides. Now, if you guys are wanting to dive in and connect into more stuff, check out Spirit Coffee Talk on Fridays on the Avalon Spirit YouTube page. And if you haven't already and you want to connect with me a little bit more, check out the Avalon Spirit Facebook group as well. And I'm on there every day, so lots to chat about. And that's about it. So you guys have a beautiful week, and I'll see you next week.